I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Quirky Shank,
And
not Snake.
I keep stepping on your intros because I'm not sure what bullshit you're gonna say afterwards.
I'm always pulling the bullshit.
You are.
I've been watching so much pro wrestling, now I have to give myself a wrestler title every time. It's important to me.
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon.
From Parts Unknown.
From Parts Unknown. Yeah, like Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
It is good to see you. I see that your hype of AEW has not dwindled at all in the recent weeks.
It's my hyperfixation, and I am living for it. And it has led me down, y'all, it has led me down a literal rabbit hole of weird-ass wrestling in a way I cannot. Today I watched a match that was the Invisible Man versus his brother, the Invisible Stan, and the only live person that was in the ring was the ref.
Wow.
And it ruled. Please check it out. Game Changer Wrestling, Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan. Those two brothers had a grudge to get over. It was phenomenal.
Well, be that as it may, this is not a podcast about Invisible Men wrestling.
Yet.
It is a podcast about sharing the shows that we love, and we do it with a guest every time. And our guest is just as incredible as the last and those that came before. She is a burlesque performer, artist extraordinaire, and now full-time badass streamer, the unbelievable America Online at AOL.com.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. I love saying your name. I know I told you this
You.
on autographs as well, but just saying your name out loud is my favorite thing because it's so long. It's the best.
It's like a long little serotonin boost. You're like, you have to say it, and it makes you feel like you're chanting something. Like you're like, I'm going to announce this thing. Yeah, it's always a fun time.
I appreciate that both of you came with your green hair today. Also, the listeners can't see this, but you're matchy.
This is my fresh job. This
Fresh
is
your
why I
job.
was running late because I had to do the back
It looked
because
really
the
good.
bangs.
It does
Thank
look
you so
great.
much. I did the bangs and it was pink in the back and it looked bad and I didn't want to bring that to America Online at AOL.com
Thank you.
because I value your eyes.
Thank you. Valuing my eyes and my time. I appreciate that. I appreciate
But
that.
I value your time so much. I come late to the recording.
Exactly.
It's
It's
obviously.
worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. It was worth it, though.
It's
always
worth it though. Look at this.
It does look great.
A
Great
color premiere.
Great content for an audio podcast. Look how great
Yeah.
Rachel's hair is. That's
It's
fine.
so good.
That's fine. They'll post a selfie soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's fine. But this also is not a show about our hairstyles, although it could be because we
Though
all have great
we
hair.
Look amazing.
We do look amazing.
Yeah.
This
Wow.
is a show about the most recent thing we watched, and of course, as always, I will go first. And I am bringing an expected movie to the Screen Snark fandom. It is, of course, Shang-Chi
Ooh.
and the Ten Rings.
Those ding dang rings.
Those ding dang rings. I've seen it twice in 2 weeks because it's
Nice.
worth seeing many times. And a future guest of the show and good friend Eric Van Allen was visiting from Texas, and so he wanted to see it, and so we went with previous guest of the show, Jesse Vitelli. And it was great. It was great the first time. It was great the second time. I loved it. It might be one of my favorite Marvel films now. I don't know if it's number one yet. I haven't done that math, but it is definitely top 3 easily, without a doubt.
It rules.
What are your
Because-
top 3 movies of Marvel before we get into this?
I mean,
Yeah, that's important.
Ragnarok is up there because it's in isolation. It's fun. And you could probably watch Ragnarok knowing almost nothing about Thor and still enjoy it.
Yeah, Thor goes and does wrestling on a trash planet.
On a trash planet,
plus.
And then, I mean, also in my top 3, it's tough. It's either Winter Soldier, which I just really love. I just think is a fun espionage movie, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But
more wrestling.
More
I'm
wrestling.
sorry.
It's all
Once you
kayfabe.
see it, it's
it's
everywhere.
everywhere. But I mean, it's funny. Like Endgame has a lot of weight to it. None of it having to do with the movie itself, and more having to do with what it represents, and of course the ending. But yeah, I don't. It's really hard to pick my top 10. I've seen people start to put out lists now that Shang-Chi came out and Black Widow came out. And I will say Black Widow is probably in my top 10. I thought it was actually quite well done. I didn't think, like, for an action movie, and while, Scarlett Johansson as a person is hit or miss, I think that her as Black Widow is really great, and the arc they gave her in that movie, as well as how they introduced all of these new characters and Yelena. And, like, I heard a lot of complaints about Taskmaster, and I think I can understand why you miss the snarky, kind of very fighty character. And there's still opportunity for that to happen if Taskmaster comes back after this. But I think that has nothing to do with the gender of the character. I think it has to do with how the story was written. And she was a little short-shrifted by the narrative. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting completely sidetracked. Follow me on Twitter at DJ_Stormageddon for my other Marvel takes. But yeah, Shang-Chi, what I love about it is that there is no origin story in this one. Like, there's an origin to him and his family, but it's threaded through the entire movie. And there's no, I have no powers, I got my powers. And I think the flow from average dude to action movie comes so fast and is threaded so well that I just think it's such a fun ride. Also, I mean, the two leads in this movie are doing such incredible work. The first thing I said when I came out of the theater is, like, I love Awkwafina. I've loved Awkwafina and a ton of stuff. And my first worry about seeing this movie in the trailers was, oh God, Awkwafina is going to be the comic relief. She's going to be gag after gag, and it'll be funny, but it won't be, like, sort of like a lot of there's always a second banana in a lot of these movies who's just there for the jokes.
Yeah.
And Awkwafina was not. There was one joke at her expense, I think, early on about her being lazy, and then the rest of it was just jokes about the situation, but she was still competent and, like, actually quite resourceful and really, and, like, America, have you seen the movie yet?
I have not.
Okay, so
but I know the origin of the character.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
So I'm not gonna spoil anything, because, like, one of my favorite things about it is the callback from a previous Marvel movie, the comedic callback. I think is done so well. And
my favorite line deliverer in the MCU is back.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I mean, you see it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, if you loved Zach Cherry in that short little spurt in Spider-Man Homecoming, where he's like, "Hey, yo, Spider-Man, do a flip!" Greatest line read in the history of the MCU.
True.
I will die
Facts.
on that hill.
Yeah.
If you loved that, oh my, your heart
And
is not prepared for Zach Cherry. Holy socks.
And I also like that the comedy in this movie is throughout, and, like, there's plenty of drama. The story stuff is really good. The family stuff is really good, but, like, it also handles a lot of things that were cliches in the comics or stereotypes in the comics, and explains them away in a way that makes it feel natural, and the growth feels natural. And, like, the cast is incredible beyond just the lead actors. I mean, there's Asian royalty in this movie, especially in the like kung fu side of it and the fighting side of it. There are just so many incredible actors who, like, I don't even want to say some of their names, because their moments in the movie are reveals as well, especially if you're a fan of those actors. Like,
also, luxurious color palette in this one. Like, I cried. It was so pretty.
It was.
I
The colors,
could not believe there was this much vibrancy in a Marvel movie.
It was unbelievable. It felt like an old school kung fu flick, and that's what I loved about it. It, like, had these bright colors, especially when they go to a different world. Like, it just, like, the colors are still kind of muted when they're in our world, but, like, yeah, they really did some amazing stuff, and all of the fights absolutely slap. Every one of them. The bus scene, like, you've seen it 1,000 times on trailers, like, pieces of it. The trailers do not do it justice. I would say it's one of the greatest fight scenes in any of the Marvel movies ever.
Ooh.
It's just so good. I've seen it twice now, and every time I'm just on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and I'd say the second big set piece fight is
Yes.
like the second best. Like there's a debate going on as to whether or not the bus fight or the other fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call it the purple fight. You'll know when you see it. They're brilliant. They're just so energetic. Let bodies go move on screen. It's the best.
Yeah, I've been told that this is basically like a big love letter to Chinese cinema of like the old like. So I'm very excited to see that as it's described as that. So it feels like very different from the rest of Marvel so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will also say, like, there were characters I didn't expect to love that even on the second viewing, like, I just loved more. Like the actress who played Shang-Chi's sister, Jiling, which I'm gonna mangle the actual actress's name, but I'm gonna try my best. It was Manga Zhang, which I believe is the correct pronunciation, who plays Shang-Chi's sister. She's just so charismatic from the moment she walks into the scene she walks in. Because again, I don't want to ruin that. And like just chews on the goddamn scenery the entire movie. But when there's a moment for her to have heart, it's just as deep. Like I love that. I think and like the cameos also. Like I'm not gonna like it. You've seen the trailers. You know Benedict Wong is somewhere in this movie. Like
Yeah.
of course he's going to be. Benedict Wong is now one of my favorite actors in the MCU after this movie. He only gets a couple scenes, and those scenes are just baller. Now I really can't wait for Spider-Man No Way Home because like I know he's in it, even though he leaves, he pieces out, but like he's gonna be a major player in that one too, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
He's just great.
Wong is winning Phase 4
Yeah,
right now
I would
as
agree.
a character.
I would agree.
Yeah,
He is the icon
Easily.
so far. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like bringing in like a B-list villain like Razor Fist and actually doing some fun stuff with him, like I love that. I love that. I also like that he's pretty much, besides a cameo later for Redacted, one of the only white people in the entire film, and that is also great, because we don't need to be in this film.
yeah. We don't need to be in every film.
Nope.
Yeah, we're good.
Sure don't.
You heard it here.
You heard it here, folks. News at 11. But okay, I'm not going to get too much more into the movie just because I don't want to spoil it for America or the listener because it has only been a few weeks and it is pretty
Yeah.
new. And if you want to hear a great spoiler cast discussion, you can go over to the Infinity Pod where Rachel and Scott talk quite a bit about the movie.
Where we're still talking about it in week 2
Right.
since we first brought. We couldn't help it. It was a great talking point about movies.
But yeah, it's definitely one of my top movies. And again, I think the biggest thing for me about this movie is like Thor Ragnarok and like Black Panther, you could watch this movie in isolation and understand the point of this movie. You might not get some of the bigger implications, but all in all, I could take Shang-Chi to my dad who loves Kung Fu flicks, show him this. He likes the Marvel movies too, but I don't think he's kept up with them. I could show him this movie and he wouldn't really be lost. There's one scene towards like the back half with a cameo that you wouldn't understand if you haven't seen the other movies. But beyond
but even then, it's kind of explained off that
Right.
if you like had to like go in during a commercial break and look at your friend and go, "What?" and you just be like, "Oh yeah, in another movie this happened."
Yeah.
So like that's why this is here. Also, doesn't matter. Stealing it.
It's still
Stealing it.
entertaining.
My
Yeah.
friend.
Still entertaining, yeah.
Oh my gosh, just one of the best like surprises in the best ways.
Yeah, it's why I don't want to ruin it. Yeah, it's really good, especially.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with a certain actor named Ben.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I was like, he has to show up because
Yes.
he made some claims.
Yeah.
And there was a
So.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You were gonna say.
There was a little like Marvel like thing where like in prison and
Mm-hmm.
he gets like a little letter. He's like, "This is actually real."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
assumed that there was a follow up to that.
So I will just say that yes, there are connections to that, to all of that, and it's done well. And
Yeah.
and again, none of the bits in this movie feel like bits. Like I've revisited Guardians of the Galaxy 1 recently, and I still really love that movie. I genuinely do. But like a lot of the comedy in that first movie are just bits. Like let's say something dumb or do something dumb. I think the second one has a much better narrative through line while still making jokes. And I think Shang-Chi is one of the few movies that like is just an action comedy in the way that we don't really get action comedies anymore. you know, it's like when the Infinity Pod was doing their like action movie buddy cop stuff like way back, like how comedy is a big part of those movies and those kind of buddy routines. And we just didn't, you know, comedy is throughout the MCU, but I feel like things get too heavy too easily, and I felt like Shang-Chi balanced that really well, and it's why it's become a favorite really quick.
Yeah, it's nice when you are willing to like have fun in your fun comic book movie that's kind of about broken families.
Yep.
You know, like we're still having fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that also they continue to do redeemable villains in an interesting way. Like I don't necessarily think the villain in this movie is completely redeemable, a la like, you know, in Black Panther. But I will say that like their motivations are understandable, and like they humanize them in a way that's really interesting, is really fascinating.
Yeah. You could put yourself in their position to a degree,
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I love that.
I like mustache twirling villains as well. Like the Red Skull is just the Red Skull. He's an evil Nazi, and I like villains like that too. But like I think having a nice mix of them, which the MCU is doing more now in Phase 4, is much more interesting to me.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I'll say on Shang-Chi for now. If you want to hear my spoiler thoughts, you can come to our Discord server because I'll put the post in them there.
Nice. So, Matt,
Yes.
if you had to sum up Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in just 3 words, and you cannot use Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, how would you describe this film?
So see, it's actually hard this time because rings would be a good emphasis word, you know.
If you need rings, you can have rings.
I can't use the word rings, but I can use a version of rings, like.
Okay. I let you break the rules,
You
but
let
go
me break
ahead.
the rules.
Go ahead.
Ringing endorsement from me. Oh no, that's 4 words.
That's 4.
Yeah, no, gotta roll that back.
Listen, I'll let you break some of these rules,
But
but you
not
got to
all of
keep
them.
it to 3, baby.
No,
Yeah.
I think kick-ass action.
That's kick-ass is a hyphenate, yeah.
Yeah, kick-ass
Cool.
action,
Right. Action.
comedy.
Kick-ass action comedy. Yeah, that
There we
sums
go.
it up.
That sums it up. So- Shang-Chi, which I still struggle to say correctly because I'm stupid, but that's fine.
It's okay.
I'm working on it.
We'll get there
We'll get there.
eventually.
It's a work in
We're
progress.
learning.
It's
Yeah.
that's not a language that we grew up with.
Yeah.
We're old.
We're old. That's true.
Yeah.
I am very old. All right. Well, enough about how
Ancient.
old I am. Rachel, what is the most recent thing that you have watched and brought to us?
Well, before I get to that,
Uh-huh.
because what I brought is a real feel good situation. Oh boy, you're gonna feel warm and tingly and so joyful all over when I say what I brought.
Here we go.
I wanna just say that I finished the first half of season 2 of The Owl House.
Oh, nice.
An oldie but a goodie on this show.
Yep.
And it positively is trucking harder than ever,
Nice.
going gayer than ever.
Nice. Love to see it.
It's fantastic. Please do yourself a favor and watch The Owl House. And you know what? I would say watch The Owl House as a palate cleanser for what I brought today. Because I brought Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh,
God.
boy.
So now, is this the series? You're watching the series?
I've watched the entire series, and I also watched End of Evangelion.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you just binge an anime about giant robots, the apocalypse, and depression. What are you gonna do?
Let me tell you that, like, Evangelion is one of those series that I've watched a few times. I still haven't seen any of the new
I can't believe
movies.
you've watched it more than once.
I know, I can't either. But like the second time is when it really wrecked me. When I was younger, I was dumb enough that the emotional stuff I don't think hit me as hard.
Yep.
But when
Yeah.
I watched it in college is when it really fucked me up. And it's why I haven't watched any of the movies since End of Evangelion. Like I watched that, and now I know there's like 1.2 Harmony, blah blah blah. Like there's a bunch of other movies, I think 3 others, and I want to watch them. I hear that they're sort of series replacements, extensions. It's nebulous, but it's hard because that show, like it's so great. And the first, like, I don't know, 6 episodes, 10 episodes, you're just like, oh, what's going on? All right, I see what's happening. And then, like, the back end of it is just, it just kicks you in the nuts multiple times. Even if you don't have nuts, it's crazy. Like, it's that feeling of your innards getting kicked into your throat.
It's a deeply dark, very complex piece of anime. Some people say that it is a deconstruction of giant robot mech anime. I would disagree and say it is actually a treatise on Judeo-Christian apocalypse through the lens of an Eastern creator who is trying to explain their own depression. Who's trying to explain their own depression to you. It's that, like, there you go. I've watched a lot of video essays about it because, like, when I was done, I was just like, there's so much to process. I kind of want someone to, like, break this down and put it into buckets for me. And frankly, I have not read enough Carl Jung to truly understand this anime.
Yep.
You know, there's a whole lot of philosophers that I have a passing understanding of that are just like all over this. Yeah, it's really like dreamlike in a lot of what it's doing. It has a lot of visceral, like, birth imagery. It's kind of a lot.
It blows my mind that this, I've talked to a lot of people when they were kids, is their first anime.
Jeez.
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, like many people, it's like Evangelion
wild.
is their first anime ever.
My adult anime experience was Akira and Evangelion back to back. And, like, if you want to be depressed as hell, watch both of those. Cause,
Yeah,
like,
I thought Utena was an anime that ended real sad and made me sad. And Evangelion just went, oh, hold all of my beers.
Yeah.
Hold my entire fridge of beers.
If it makes you
Let's
feel
go.
any better, the last week in relative positivity.
Nice to know. Thank God.
It's like, I talk to people like, it's shockingly optimistic. I was like, it is. I was not expecting that at all, but relatively positive. So, good.
Rachel,
Yeah.
was this your first time watching it?
Yes, first time
See, and
ever.
that's so wild to me because on a previous episode you talked about Shin Godzilla, which we've both seen as well, and, like, same creator, and like to see it in that order, to me, I wish my brain could have witnessed it in that order, because you must have had some expectation for Evangelion based on that, right?
I mean, I didn't really come into it with, like, a ton of expectations. I try to just let things exist how they are.
Sure.
So, like, I didn't even, like, come in with an understanding that this was going to be a treatise on depression or human connection, or, like, the barriers between us are what give us our humanity, but they're also the things that cause us to, like, misunderstand each other. Like, our safety and our ego is the detriment to our full empathy of each other. You know, I didn't know. I was like, I know this gets sad, and I've seen sad anime, you know, Bebop, Utena, like, I'm no stranger to that, but can I just say, the last 2 episodes of this anime, episode 25 and 26, are just a black box theater piece as anime. It's wild. And what really, like, threw me for a loop, and I'm really glad that I watched End of Evangelion after it, and, like, a lot of people were like, skip 25 and 26. I disagree. Please watch 25 and 26. And if you need more context of sort of, like, what is going on in the meta world, like, go watch End of Eva. It'll give you a lot more understanding, because it kind of, like, full stops and then just, like, launches into this, like, entire, like, treatise of, like, you live in my heart, and that's the reality of you to me, even if that's not the reality of you to you. It, like, it's you know,
It's
I
wild.
could see it on, like an off-Broadway. You know, that's how dense and how like non-linear and dreamlike it becomes. So when they're all saying congratulations, you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
That scene just ruins me. It's so creepy.
It's just
it's so
you
well
know,
made.
and like I'm such a brain who really like gets in a story, you know. I'm like, this happens and that's why this is significant, like because of this, that. So it really kind of like threw me when I was like, oh, okay, bye plot, I'll miss you. What happened? You know.
Yeah.
But End of Evangelion kind of like, I think, is the extension of what episode 25 and 26 are doing.
Yes.
And it's sort of like in the middle of the two 45-minute episodes of End of Eva. I'd say episode 25 and 26 are occurring.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay,
You know, that's how I'm interpreting it. And you can interpret any way you want to, that this is a different universe of Evangelion where the movie happens versus the TV show. But I kind of like the marriage of them, where it's kind
Right.
of like both are true for Shinji. These are the experiences that Shinji had at the end, you know. Woof.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, during this personal the pandemic, why you would choose to seek out Evangelion. Like, I'm just not know that people like this in this, or is kind of
It was mostly because I'm trying to round out like my anime understanding. Like
Very fair.
I'm picking up JoJo. You know, again, I experienced Cowboy Bebop for the first time. I really love the medium of anime a lot, and
Okay.
I want to watch the things that influenced stuff that I like, that's modern now. You know, like I'm not kidding when I say I finished Evangelion, watched part 1 of season 2 of the Owl House, and there is literally a visual reference to Evangelion
Of course there is.
in the Owl House.
Yep.
And if I hadn't seen Evangelion, I would have missed
You
it.
would've
I would have
missed
been
it,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's a cute little outfit. But then I was just like, well, shit, it's everywhere, you know? And I just kind of wanted to see a formative piece of anime that influences not just anime as an Eastern medium, but animation as a Western one. You know, I think there's so much within this piece that influences things that I love, and it felt like I was doing myself a disservice for not watching it. Also, I think it's good to like have that catharsis of just be like, the world is ending. And people just, they go on, they figure it out. They still fall in love. They still have complicated like opinions of each other. You know, like what
Yeah.
do you do? You band together. And do you band together as far as like some people want in this, or do you band together and still retain like your sense of self? You know, I think it's a better way to deal with the terrible things of the world that don't involve reading the news.
that's very true.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think also, like, I've said this on the show before, I think, but I'm a big fan of early era one season animes. Some of my favorites are those. We mentioned Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, and Trigon are some of my favorites. And also, what I think the overlap with a lot of them is they're very emotional. Some of them heartbreaking. Like, I'm not going to... The Trigun is heartbreaking. So is Outlaw Star. Like, these animes are designed to have definitive conclusions. Of course, Cowboy Bebop. And, like, I think what Ava does really well is it makes you feel what the characters are feeling. There's no, unless you are dead inside, there's no way to watch that show and go, I feel nothing. Look, there's boobs. Like, that's just not...
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it can
Also-
be those things, but it's not just those things.
Also, this is you mentioned boobs, and I
Yeah.
think it is very important to note that like they often joke that there's a lot of fan service in this. And yes, there is a lot of nudity. Absolutely. I mean, your protagonist is like a pubescent boy.
Yeah.
You know, like what do you expect? But every moment of like anything like sexual is so like psychosexual that it is not at all like erotic. It's
No.
just it's
Agreed.
very it's
Absolutely.
very nightmarish.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
in the same way that like certain scenes in Kill la Kill are like very sexual, but like such a nightmare because you're like, what the fuck is happening? You know, and I really love that it is being allowed to do that as an animated piece, to really
Yeah.
just dig into like sometimes you feel like urges and they just mess you up real bad.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And
It's a
now,
nightmare.
And now that,
Sexuality is a nightmare,
I mean, that's-
everyone.
that is true. But now that you've seen it, now I can start every podcast by going, get in the podcast, Rachel. You know, just give you one of those.
I'll never get in the podcast again.
Get in the podcast, Rachel, or Matt dies.
Don't worry. Hey, don't worry, Rachel. It's your choice if you want to get in the podcast. But if you don't, the world ends.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Don't worry.
Um,
You don't have to.
Well, Rachel, I'm so glad
Just
that
going to
you
build this podcast and kick it over and then build it again.
and then build it again. I'm so glad that you brought this to all of our recent memories again, so we can all suffer together. But Rachel, if you had to describe Evangelion, Neon Genesis, and I guess End of Eva, but mostly the series, though I lump them together,
Yeah.
with just 3 words, and they cannot be the words Evangelion, Neon, or Genesis.
That sucks because I was going to describe this as Neon Genesis Evangelion because honestly, that's the best way to describe it.
It's true. Like
Neon
it's true.
That's
It's true.
yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some shows, and this is not surprising that this is one of them, that just like you hit a wall
what?
trying to describe.
God, if I had to distill this, I don't think human language can distill this one into 3 words. This is tough. Okay, I'm gonna say
Comedic silence. If only you could see
got
Rachel.
Rachel
Lisa.
has like
Her
their
hands
hands
up.
up, just like making a face
yeah.
of existentialism.
Okay. Apocalypse, mysticism, robots.
There you go. All right. The 3 most important things about Evangelion, which if I'm pronouncing wrong, too bad.
Or tragedy of humanity.
There you go. A twofer. Love a twofer.
There you go. Sometimes I gotta do 2, you know.
All right. Well, before we get in the podcast, Rachel,
Get in the podcast, Matt.
before we do that, before
Yeah,
we get
right.
in the
I want to
robot-
get in the podcast, and I want to kick ass in this podcast because let's face it, I'm Asuka. Are you kidding?
You are. Oh, you
Yeah.
are
I
absolutely
mean,
Asuka,
like,
without
I
a
am
doubt.
ready.
Yeah, you are.
Notice me. Notice me on my podcast.
But it is time for our guests to share what the hell they have watched most recently. So, AOL, what have you brought us?
Wow. So first we've got Shang-Chi, Evangelion. We are going all over the board. We are having an adventure, a charcuterie
glad.
board.
Yeah, we are.
So
Yes.
I have never seen it, and I've only seen part of this director's work before.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only seen their later work, and their earlier work is very, very referenced and influential to a lot of people. I'm here to talk about Mallrats.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I am actually curious, as someone who loved Mallrats, and it was my favorite movie for a long time, how
Interesting.
well that plays in 2021. Because I imagine there is a bunch of shit that is very problematic.
It's a problem. Okay, so it is a problematic movie. There are some very dicey language in there that today. With that being said, it feels like a very specific capital that will never ever happen again. It feels like this bubble in New Jersey Mall is like, it feels like an alternate reality that has never happened and will never happen again. But it's very weird because Bretzo loves this movie a whole lot. I've never seen it.
Hey, at him, Bretzo.
Well, I mean, like he loved it as when he was younger. He loved Kevin Smith a lot.
Yeah.
But he loved the movie when he was younger, and he loved Smith younger, and Clark animated series that he made. So I've never seen early Kevin Smith media, and I kind of wanted to dive in. It feels very so abstract and far away from the thing that it's now.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I liked it for what it is. I liked it for what it is because it feels because I don't really like a lot of like comedy, like drama or romance, whatever the fuck you call it. It
Right.
feels so much like Kevin Smith is giving you like this attitude of like a state of mind for the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And there of course Stanley fucking reference there.
Yeah.
Stanley appears.
Mm-hmm.
But the characters just first of all, I wanted Shannon Doherty's like wardrobe. I loved it.
She looks awesome in this movie.
She looked so good. I'm relatively familiar with Jay and Silent Bob, but I don't know. I learned Jay's catchline pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah.
Which I learned it pretty fucking quickly. Yeah, I heard Snooty Booties at least 15 times in it.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it does. But it's very different from I've only seen, like I've Red State, I've seen all of his later series and his writing comic, which feels dramatically different.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you do change it.
I do believe that Tusk and his comic career did happen after Kevin Smith actually started smoking weed. So
Yes, I believe so.
Wait, really? He was just like a faux stoner?
I think so.
I
through-
think-
That's
yeah,
so
I don't think-
embarrassing. That makes
yeah.
sense.
I think Jason Mewes always smoked, but I don't know that Kevin always did.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Kevin picked it up later in life.
That movie for a long time was one of my favorite movies, and like it's the second movie he ever made, so it's showing its age makes sense. The funniest thing about that movie for me is that was the movie I knew Michael Rooker from, and a lot of people knew Michael Rooker from, and he
forgot.
plays the ex's dad who's at the mall who gets the chocolate covered pretzel. Yeah. And so like that was the movie I knew him for as a character actor. And now, of course, everyone knows him as Yondu, and everyone knows him in the new Suicide Squad and a bunch of other stuff that he's done recently. And it's just very funny to me that like I think he was on The Walking Dead, but like that's what I knew him for. Also, I must have known I was queer back then because I both wanted Jason Lee and Shannon Doherty. I looked at them both and went, they're both hot.
They're both cool.
I would do both of them. I don't understand what the problem is here. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, was it funny? Because I remember it being funny, but like I also have not seen it in so long.
I would say it's entertaining. I don't know if it's relatively funny. It feels more entertaining than else. Like with one, there's the inside joke at the beginning of the all, which Brett told me is a reference to Clerk, that happens there, that they're attending. So it's all connected in Kevin Smith. But the Kevin Smith universe. But
I would not want to see Kevin James as Mallrats, to be honest.
No.
Kevin James Mall Cop.
Oh.
It all ties together. It's all about the malls.
I mean, they're all in the Tommy Westfall universe at the end of the day, so
That's true.
what are you gonna do?
But it feels more like looking at a time capsule than anything else. But I don't listening to watch Jan like a poop pretzel. But but no, I think it was more entertaining than it was actually funny.
Yeah. I mean, the joke, and I guess spoilers for a very old movie. My favorite joke is the Magic Eye joke
That was very funny.
Because
That
it's
was
a
very
really good running gag, and the actor whose name is escaping me, who plays the guy who's staring at it and trying to see it, he's been in a bunch of Kevin Smith's movies. He's always had recurring characters, and like I love that bit, but that's the only bit that I can think of that would probably still make me laugh
Wait,
now.
no. There was one, the Stan Lee one, where Stan was talking to Jason Lee's character about
Yeah,
or
Brody.
Brody about like, oh, follow your dream. This is how I met like the love, and he just kept talking about fucking.
Yeah,
Like he was just like there, like into the idea of Spider-Man's dick while,
yeah. It was
yeah.
like Superman. The idea of like Superman couldn't wear a kryptonite condom because it would kill him. Like all that kind of stuff. Has come from Kevin
It was
Smith
funny
movies.
because Stanley's just like, friend has like, what the fuck
right.
wrong with your friend? I created this beautiful universe, and he's just talking to me about like kryptonite dick. That's
Yeah,
Stanley's a crazy man.
yeah.
He just kept going into detail about like his characters that he made and graphic details. Why are you, buddy? I
Yeah.
thought that was fun.
That was a good bit too. Yeah, I've been afraid to revisit the old Kevin Smith stuff, and I still like Kevin Smith. I think for the most part he's pretty intelligent and knows what he likes, and he's a good writer. But I tend to like his non Kevin Smith stuff. Like I'm loving the He-Man continuation.
Yeah.
Because it's him flexing his writing muscles in a very different way, and I've liked his comic books. I liked his Daredevil run. Like, I think Mallrats is better in my memory than it's ever going to be in real life at this point.
Yeah. I will say Kevin Smith is a good creative. I do think that he is a better creative when he has to bounce stuff off with.
Yeah.
And like I think Brad told me about Clerks animated series where he had a team of people being like, Kevin, let's just like tone this down and do something else a little bit different and kind of honing it. So, but I mean, Clerks was one of his second movies. Mallrats was, so he's grown in 30 plus years, I would
for
say.
sure.
Most people have.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
I mean, some people actually haven't, but yeah.
That's also true. Yeah, I mean, the Clerks cartoon has one of my favorite running gags ever in it, which is them pretending to climb a building and then a pot falling down and them going, "Why are we walking like this?"
Yeah.
And they've literally put it in like half of the episodes.
What was Kevin Smith? It just came out relatively recently. That was Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, it was the sequel to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jay and
Yes.
Silent Bob Reboot,
The reboot.
which I haven't seen yet.
All I will say, the reboot feels like Kevin Smith, like when he had his heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it was him being like, "Oh shit, I am going to die." This is like, it feels like his funeral and like an epitaph made for him.
Okay.
That's how it feels. It's just like a reflection of his work.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I've been wanting to see it. Well, America Online at AOL.com. If you had to sum up the movie Mallrats in just 3 words and you couldn't use the word mall or rat, what?
Or Mallrats. I just want to make it clear.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me. You got me.
What 3 words would you use to describe this movie?
Alternate reality. That's all I can say. It's alternate reality time capsule. It just feels
Okay.
forward. Yeah.
Time capsule could be a hyphenate, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for throwing that though.
You're welcome. We're here to help. This is a group effort.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's so funny. I'm now thinking about his older movies and like I really should probably never rewatch them. I'm literally terrified to rewatch Clerks 2. I feel like that one is terrible.
You know what? I watched Clerks 2 when it came out, and even then I was like, I don't think this is it, Chief.
No,
I
yeah.
don't think this one is it at all.
There's a Clerks 3 happening.
There is. I'm curious. Supposedly, like Rosario Dawson's coming back,
Yeah.
and Brian O'Halloran, and like all of the main cast are coming back.
But everyone should
curious.
watch Jersey Girl.
Yeah, Jersey Girl is actually a
Wanna watch that
delightful,
one.
kind movie that got panned because there were no shit, piss, and fart jokes in it. Also makes me miss George Carlin, the old George Carlin, not
Yeah.
not the kind of comedian he was right before he passed. He was a little more crotchety then.
Oh, I loved a crotchety Carlin.
I did too. It's just he was just on the cusp of being offensive and not a good way. I don't know that he ever
Yeah.
went over that line, but he got pretty close. Maybe it's also because I saw him at my college like a year before he died with my parents and felt uncomfortable because my parents were in the audience with me, and that was weird.
Watching stand up with your parents is an awful experience. I went
Yeah.
to a comedy club with my mom because a friend of ours, it was in New York City. She went to visit me, and one of our friends was doing stand up, and I had a 15-minute stand up routine about eating ass with my mom, and I wanted to die.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience ever.
Yeah, comedy in its stand-up format. What I always say, it's like a first date. If it's good comedy, it's a great first date and you
Yeah.
want to go on a second one. And if it's bad comedy, you want to purge it from your mind. And you should never bring your parents on a first date.
No,
Never. Mistake
It's
made.
bad form for everyone.
It is. It's true. America Online at AOL.com. I'm going to say your full name as much as possible.
America Online at AOL.com.
.com. Rachel and I both know you, of course, from the burlesque scene
Yes.
through various avenues, which you've been incredible at. You have a Porg act that I will sing the praises of until the end of time. one of the
We're not
earliest
even
acts I've
gonna
ever seen.
gonna get into the Mabim Bam show.
Oh my God, the Mabim Bam show, yeah.
Good.
We should though. Fishy's my dude.
But before we talk about podcasting, I want to talk about streaming because we've had a bunch of other streamers on the show, but a lot of the streamers we've had as guests are people who've been streaming for quite a while. You, from what I recall, started streaming around the beginning of the pandemic because I remember I had already been streaming, not frequently, but like we were talking about it and you were like, oh yeah, I think I want to do it. And you ended up becoming one of my mods, which I still am very appreciative of. And like, you really took a fascination with it and then ended up kicking ass at it and it really taking off for you where you do a ton of streams a week, you have themes, you cosplay as Todd Howard, like you go all out. And so I'm curious, like what about streaming really attracted you to it?
So for streaming, one, I love video games a lot, and in real life, like outside of at Philly, they used to have board where I would go every single week on a Thursday, go drink with friends, game dev, talk about gaming, just out shit like. And I just didn't have that for years on end, and I missed nerding out and talking about what I like and just being as weird as possible at all times.
Kind of
So-
your brand.
Yeah, keeping it weird. So, I mean, for Lesters, we talk about video games too. Like, we found nerd Lesters. Fine, talk about it. It's fun. But I was just missing, like, being the biggest nerd of all time. I miss talking about gaming. I talk about that kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really, really missing that kind of connection. So I started streaming. I wanted to play fun for game. Also, were weird too, like things. So it's been fun. I started a little over a year ago, and it's grown a lot. In the past month, I got a Square Enix sponsorship and
Nice.
other stuff, and it's going.
I love
It's
that.
good. Thank you. I didn't expect to have so much fun talking to my computer.
Right?
It's when your computer starts to talk back that there's a problem, though.
Oh,
you know?
God.
Oh, is the chat on the screen not what everybody sees when they Twitch stream? Am I hallucinating?
You're
Oh, no.
hallucinating your
I've
entire
never
audience.
seen this before.
I don't know what
Oh
you're talking
boy.
But yeah, I mean, what I love about your streams is that really inclusive and you're really welcoming, and like I've definitely shown up having had a bad day several times, and you're just like, oh, what's going on? Just vibe, hang out. Like when you were playing Animal Crossing, when we were all playing Animal Crossing, like
Yep.
a lot of your streams were just very kind of like hang out and do whatever. I think that as a part of your community, I think it's why your community has grown. It's because you kind of you're not looking to be antagonistic or like make fun of people or be snarky. I mean, you're snarky a little bit, but like you're mostly looking to like create a safe space, a warm space. And I think that's not super easy to find these days among streamers.
That's high compliments. Holy shit. But yeah, the biggest part is creating a space. Like with streaming, you want to like feel like you're all hanging out, having like a nice chill time. Because realistically, you're doing something else. Like having a hangout session with people while they're like, working, vibe, like playing a game. So you're trying to like curate an atmosphere that kind of hang out. You're the one they're watching. So I just want to create a space where everyone feels like, stay fucking fuck. I can vibe out here and not deal with the fact that my boss yelled at, or the fact that like whatever. I could point to 50 things in the world that's happening right now that like.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like I streamed on January 6th when all the bullshit was happening. Like we're the Animal Crossing on. I'm gonna draw people as Animal Crossing people, and we're just gonna vibe. So just creating little places that people can take a break and chill the fuck out and not have to fully addressing the world. I mean, you have to address the world, you have to address the problem. Like you can't escape that no matter what. But just having a moment just to like continue.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's super important. Would you say that your burlesque career has influenced your streaming at all?
Yes, especially with cosplay, because me and Bretzo have acquired a massive collection. What are you doing? Okay. Oh, I thought he was grabbing something and I didn't know what it was. But yeah, because I've been doing cosplay. I did the Dumb Dress for Resident Evil 8. I was Big Damn Mommy. I did a Todd Howard cosplay stream where I cosplayed and did an E3 conference as Todd Howard playing Oblivion and asked questions to chat. And this week is probably my most bizarre thing I've done. I have been Wario for an entire week on stream.
Wow.
I have shown up in full Wario fucking beat drag for an entire week playing Wario games. And I don't really know why that. I mean, I know why it happened.
Well, I could tell you why. It's because you're the GOAT.
Yeah,
America Online at AOL.com.
Thank
true.
you.
That's some GOAT shit right there.
Also, I will drop
I don't even want to put on like mascara when I stream. I'm like, I'm just gonna be my face.
I'm also going to drop a really hot take while we're talking about Wario.
Yeah.
The Wario Land games are better than 90% of the Mario games.
1000%.
Like those platformers are more interesting, more fun. Like, yeah, I will give Mario the 3D games, like Wario's 3D escapades. He's only had one, and it wasn't great. But like all the 2D games are incredible and are completely underrated. Wario Land 4 for the Game Boy Advance is one of the best games ever made.
Yes.
That's right, I said it.
I agree fully with you. Wario is just a fun character because he's just such a fun villain. Or one, he has a bunch of different outfits. He loves money. He just wants to have fun. He loves garlic and farting. Like, these are great things
A
that I
relatable
relate
villain.
to. Yeah, relatable. Loves money, farting, and garlic.
There you go.
That's all you need.
Take him to the Olive Garden. That's all you need. 100%. He's just so fun. Like, Luigi is cool. Mario is like, but
Mario's basic.
He's
frankly.
basic. Agreed. The green Mario is definitely better. Luigi is the man.
we love Mario here.
We do. We do here too. I want to talk a little bit about your burlesque. You've been on my podcast previously, Autographs, talking about your burlesque along with your incredible partner, Bretzo. Hey, it's me, Bretzo. It has to be said that way. It's in the contract.
It isn't.
I'm curious, like, because we've been in quarantine a while now, and quarantine is starting to let up a little, but the pandemic has gone nowhere yet, and so like we are still not out of the woods, but people are starting to perform more and going out more. Have you reemerged into the burlesque world at all? Have you been able to perform at all, or are you still not ready to enter that live stage again?
Yeah, I haven't been ready. I just every time I think
Makes
about
sense.
it, I feel like shit. I have to be around people. Like I go out to bars, go time for shows, like and
Mm-hmm.
like oh god, like I have to do this all here and like be around people and that show
Yeah.
and like the how like I don't know why that conversation didn't like hide. Yeah, but that's how it's been. I've been creating different works, but I've been so afraid around act.
Yeah, I've been doing the thing where I'm sort of like slowly releasing the pressure gauge and just being like, go for a little bit, and then and as soon as I don't want to anymore, I'm like gone. But
That's
yeah,
smart.
I absolutely understand that sort of like, so how is your panini? And it's like, can we not talk about our global trauma?
Yeah.
Can we just have a beer and look at the sparklies?
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, it feels like you can't. I mean, I personally can't jump back in. Hold, I'm in. It's
Yeah.
like little toe in good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I've but a lot of costuming. I've been craft materials. I have ideas. And do I feel comfortable enough in a small closet dressing room with 5 people again?
Yeah, I mean, that's legit. I mean, those spaces weren't big pre-pandemic, and so now during the pandemic,
And they've
it feels
only
small.
gotten smaller. Surprise! We shrunk them.
Yeah.
Honey, we shrunk the closet.
Honey, we shrunk the bathroom.
Like I've been to the movies a couple times, but only theaters that are doing spaced out seating. Most of my restaurant eating has been outdoors. If I'm indoors, I'm wearing a mask, and unless I'm eating. I get it. I feel the same way. Like, it helps when I'm with certain people. If I'm with friends of mine that are positive and outspoken and can kind of push like funnel energy through me, I tend to be better. But like otherwise, like when I'm out on my own, I take a walk around my neighborhood, and after like I do like 10 blocks one way and 10 blocks back, I'm like, I've had enough of the real world. I need to go back into my basement. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be ready for live burlesque shows again, because there's something about the compactness of it, right? Like when pre-pandemic, like I was a flirt and I was a host and I liked being around people, and like I didn't mind if someone sat in my lap, and like we laughed and that kind of stuff, and that all of those kinds of activities that felt so natural pre-pandemic now terrify me. Like
Agreed.
I'm at a point now where when I see people in person, like when I first saw Rachel in person for the first time last month, like we both asked, are we hugging? Like, we want to make sure we're both vaccinated.
Yeah.
We're both tested. We're both, we haven't really been anywhere like that. And when we have, we've tested. So like, neither of us was worried about the other person. I think it was just the social idea of like, are we comfortable to hug? And we did.
Yeah.
It was lovely. But like, I think at least I'm at a new place where I'm always going to check that. I'm always going to, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think
I
living
think,
that way is actually
honestly,
really good.
like just checking in with people and being like, what's your comfort level with human touch? Because
Yeah.
like we went without it for so long, and like maybe you sort of realized that you were not a handshaker or a hugger even before the pandemic, and it was just kind of a social thing that you were taught. We're all coming out of this more self-aware than we've ever been.
That is absolute move. Like, I love the fact that if I have to go out, usually with Retso, so if like it gets social, I just like throw him like, go fucking talk. You talk for me, and like he'll do it. He'll talk
That's
a lot.
true. That's
Like,
true.
he's only had me to talk to IRL, so I'm just like, just fucking do this for me, please, and does it. So it's really nice to have like another, like, he's like blushing very hard right now. It's very
Good.
cute.
As
But-
he should. As he should.
But yeah, I'm appreciative of Brett though, of just like this reflector of social anxiety. So I throw him at good. I'm nervous, and so kind of buffer.
Yeah.
But again, with the like touch and it feels very weird. Of like, oh, I thought I was hugging first. Now I'm
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Also,
mean-
tell Bretzo to put a reflector of social anxiety on the CV because
Yeah.
that
That's good.
that is a marketable skill.
It is.
I will put that. I'll tell him to put on his LinkedIn.
Good.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Perfect.
I'll
And
endorse him for it.
Me
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Everyone,
Got
yeah,
you.
thank
I got
you.
you.
Marin.
But yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I was always a very huggy, touchy-feely person. Like, that's just the kind of person I've always been. And now I've found that, like, after being, like, I'm very lucky to have lived with my spouse, and so I wasn't completely touch-starved. But being with your spouse and being with friends are not the same. It's not the same kind of attention. It's not the same kind of energy. Like, it's all
Yeah.
different. And, like, relearning how to integrate has been a challenge. And, like,
Yeah.
I still kind of don't know if I'm ready. I'm like, the world would argue we're not because we're still living in a pandemic, even though some people think we're not. But I think I think what's fascinating about streaming, and Rachel and I have talked about this with other guests too, is I feel like a lot of people found streaming in the pandemic. I mean, I know Rachel did too, and I definitely streamed more during the pandemic than I did
Yeah.
before. So like, I think it's really nice to have this digital way to connect with people that we just didn't have before. I wish that platform would get its shit together about hate raids and the bullshit that POCs are going through.
100%.
Because
I had to change my layout because I didn't want to have my chat on the screen in case I wanted to VOD any of my screens because I was just like, I don't want just a bunch of hate speech to like suddenly fall at me. Like,
yeah, fun. Like
it's made me cautious about streaming. And yes, look, I'm a queer man, but I'm also a white dude. So like I am on the lowest rung of worry for this, but it's still possible because I use bisexual and I use queer in my tags because that's who I am. And and I feel bad because I have friends who are streamers who have much larger audiences than I do who get pummeled by this shit. And it's just just aggravating because like Twitch wants you to just use hacks and like these weird ban lists instead of doing something about it.
yeah. Well, I mean, the reason that we're not going to get any significant change from Twitch is because engagement is all they're after.
Right.
And it hardly matters to Twitch if your engagement is, I really love your Wario cosplay or a string of hateful language because like it's the same algorithm. Like
Right.
It's
all
it's
engagement.
the
It's
same.
all
It's the
ad
same.
dollars.
Yeah, it's the same YouTube situation of just like, comment, subscribe, or dislike. Doesn't matter. Like YouTube just wants you plugged in.
Yeah.
yeah, it's engaged, which is not a good thing to have. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I again, like trolling part of the platform. It's not like it doesn't feel good to say like it's just part of it. And like,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like for YouTube for years, it's like don't read the comments, and it's like I know other creators, like a creator who I adore, Mike Rognetta, who used to do the Idea channel, has been away from YouTube for a while and is now dabbling with doing video essays again. But on his first video, he disabled the comments. And in his second video, he also disabled the comments and explained why. It's because he doesn't feel there are other ways to reach him, and he doesn't feel the comment section on YouTube is the place to have a conversation anymore. And he's right for the most part. And so I know that there are YouTubers who have incredible communities. I know they're out there, but like the majority of the stereotype, if you were, is that like comments suck and that the people on the internet suck, which broadly is very true. And I can
Our
understand
AT fields
that.
are too strong on the internet. We need to break.
Exactly.
We need to weaken those AT fields on the internet at the very least. Not all the way,
Exactly.
just a little bit.
My last question for you, America, my last official question. Official, AmericaOnline@AOL.com. Sorry, I had to get in there. Is could you don't have to tell me exactly how, but do you think you could make a burlesque act about being a streamer now that you've streamed for a year?
I don't know because Victor Devon has Digital Get Down,
Yes, he
and that's
does,
it.
which is very-
That's fucking it.
That's
like
true.
Like
it.
that.
That's true.
That's
right.
the chef kiss. Like I if you are not familiar with Victor Devon's Get Down, it is Victor Devon, former amazing producer, podcaster,
Twice guest on this show.
twice
Yes,
guest.
guest.
That's honors.
Honors.
Twice guest.
So
And-
very nice. We'll have them on thrice.
with a very, very old laptop and full webcam, logging on to AOL. Not me, but to the other AOL. And the web up down. Like that's
It's brilliant.
an act.
It's
Like
great. that's
Like,
that's
that's
the
it.
idea. That's it.
I-
but
you're
I'm-
right.
go ahead.
I do wonder though if with this advent of easy access to streaming platforms, I braved the world of things because I needed very much to see the naked sparkle people. I
Yeah, we gotta see
Sure.
him.
I just had a yin. I was like, I want to support. Like we're all masking up. We're all vaxxing down. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna make this as safe as possible. But one performer that I saw, and I'm so sorry to that performer, I cannot remember your name, was performing an act for the first time. Built it in the pandemic. Was
Oh, wow.
premiering it,
Oh,
but they
wow.
were based out of town, so they live streamed. They FaceTimed it essentially to their loved ones
Aw.
elsewhere, and
Aw.
I'm seeing a lot more integration of
yeah.
bringing that sort of live streaming into the real world, like
Oh, for sure.
people doing DJ sets at happy hours, streaming through OBS their DJ sets. I think that like we're on the cusp of you can watch it here in person at the venue, but you can also stream it at twitch.tv/sparkle personage. You know,
Name.
I love that name. That was great. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, my Fuser streams were born out of me DJing live, and now I can DJ on Twitch. And like Betty Brash, future guest of this very show, Betty Brash, who I'd love to have on,
Aw.
flourished in the pandemic because she's a film nerd and made short films for acts for certain festivals and stuff. And like, they're brilliant because you don't have to worry about the live interaction. You can just craft it the way you want it to be. And so like,
Yeah,
I think that kind of integration is only going to strengthen the art of burlesque.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see how it continues to evolve.
Yeah,
because it's
and-
all
So-
kind of new.
Currently I've seen of this is that some different venues will have live performances, and they'll also have an admission of digital acts that are made via the pandemic. So they'll have video acts of that during the pandemic, and also tip that as well. And I believe that there's called Slut Church in Philly that Ancient Evil Eye runs, and one of their performers always performs digitally. So they have a screen of her just go-going for their intermission.
I love that. That's
And it's
amazing.
really cool.
That's awesome.
So it's nice to see that slowly integrating, but I hopefully there's more.
yeah.
I
And-
would love
agree.
to.
And I would love to see sort of like an expansion on accessibility for audiences. Like,
Yes.
I want
Yes.
everyone who has the chance to see burlesque in its perfect environment, which is on a stage with a crowd of screaming nut jobs.
Yep.
Just losing their mind.
Yeah.
It's this, not to bring it back to wrestling, but here we go. It's the same energy with like watching old archives of wrestling through the Panini, where it's like you just don't have that same energy. And
Right.
like as wrestling is opening up to live crowds, you're like, oh right, because our audiences are part of the show. Like you are getting so much from, again, I watched a wrestling match that was two invisible fighters, and the audience was as much a part of that as anything. They were like
Sure.
backing
Oh,
out of the way.
100%.
They were falling at, like to avoid the fighters, like because we're doing this live performance as a symbiotic relationship, but like we can't, it's not the same if you can't
Right.
have the hoots and hollers, if you can't have the boos and yays, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
there's
so
a certain
excited to see what tech is going to bring us.
there's a certain magic to the audience being there. Like
Yeah.
I have a J. Jonah Jameson act where
Yeah.
I made when I went to New York City, I made on Twitter, tell everyone to bring pictures of Spider-Man. And the entire front row just like literally had Spider-Man NSFW pictures ready for me to go. I didn't even have to ask them. They were just like, got it. We got Spider-Man.
that.
And like they were giving hand pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And there's a certain magic that can't happen
Digitally.
online to
Yeah.
that.
That's true. That is true. Man. Now I'm just thinking about your J. Jonah Jameson act. The first time I saw
such a brilliant mind, America Online
I
at
just-
AOL.com. It's ridiculous.
I mean, this is the highest compliment ever. You are the biggest idiot I've ever known, and I love you for
appreciate
it.
that.
I
Aw,
just
so
do.
kind.
America Online at AOL.com. Thank you for joining us on our
Thank
humble
you
little
so
show.
much.
You're amazing. We do have one final question to ask you, but before we thank some folks, why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you do on the internet?
Yes. Currently, you can find me at twitch.tv, AmericaOnline at AOL.com. I know that's a mouthful, but I'm sure it'll be in the bio, so you can click that instead.
True.
Don't worry about that.
That's true.
That's basically where you can find me, or on Instagram at AmericaOnline at AOL.com. I know, I'm so sorry. You got to type it all out.
Got to do it. It's
And
part
Twitter,
of the-
too.
Same thing.
Would you believe? Same thing.
Wait, they let you have all the characters on Twitter?
Yeah, I take reveal that no, it's not the AOL.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like that.
No, they did
What?
not
Magic
say
trick.
like you're
It's the
you're
greatest
exception
magic.
to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get special.
You get special.
I would
Awesome.
I would break all the Twitter rules for you.
I would too. Instantly.
Is that a new Prince song? I would break all the Twitter rules for you.
Or it's a new Valentine's.
Yeah, that's true. That could be a Valentine's Day card. Well, again, thank you for joining us. All that stuff
you.
will be in the show notes. But let's thank some folks, shall we?
Yes, thank you so much to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
Thank you so much. Also, thank you to the incredible Katie Bug, who designed our awesome show art.
Yes, and thank you to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for not firing us. Yet again.
Yet
You're
again.
squeaking
Got
under
him.
the radar. One more again.
Got him.
Got
If you
'em.
want more America Online at AOL.com in your CPOV, you can go over to the Fun and Games podcast feed. America Online at AOL.com is awesome and created a Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Morrowind episode. There may, pray tell, be another episode sometime soon.
I'll get it to you.
It's fine. No rush. There's no rush. It's fine. Side quest goes on forever. But if you want to hear her talk about Morrowind, you can go over to Fun and Games at certainpov.com. We also have a ton of other incredibly nerdy podcasts, brand new podcasts like Circling Cersei and Books That Burn. You can also join our Discord server. If you go to certainpov.com, we have a permanent invite link to our Discord server. Join in the conversations about video games, comic books, TV, and more. We would just really be happy to have you there. Also, if you have a moment, maybe give us a review.
Yeah, go say that we were a fine podcast on iTunes.
Please do. Just give us 5 stars, and then write in the notes, it's a fine podcast.
I'll
If we
even
get a
let
few
you.
of
I'll
those-
even let you get away with 4.
Yeah, sure,
Oh,
4.
It's fine.
It's fine. But write it's a fine podcast.
It's a fine
If we get a bunch of
podcast.
those, that
Yeah.
would be great.
Again,
only-
all these internet things want is engagement. So just
Right.
go engage.
But yeah, if you could review us on your podcast platform of choice, it really helps us to get
Yeah.
featured. You can also tell a friend. Tell
Shout-
them we're really funny.
Shout it out a window since we're probably
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah,
inside again
passerbys.
for the fall.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming. Lockdown's coming back, baby.
Baby.
Baby. But now, before we wrap up the show, Rachel does have a very final question
Yes.
for our incredible guest. So, Rachel, ask away.
America Online at AOL.com. I am truly dying to know if you could select one trope from movies and television to instantly and magically be true in your life, what trope would you choose?
Buddy comedy.
Yes!
Yeah, good answer.
Yes.
That's going to be really
You
loud
got
for the
now.
listener.
Now, follow up question: Are you the straight like I play by the rule book, or are you like throwing the rules out the window kind of buddy? Like, where,
I'm the straight play by the rules, and then there's a moment where it snaps, and then the like. I
yes.
look out
Give
the
me
window.
that. Give me that good Grodin vibes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go. I
Still
love that.
waters run deep.
Oh, God damn it. I love you both. Again, AmericaOnline at AOL.com. Thank you for joining us. This has been an absolute delight. And then, of course, thank you to my incredibly brilliant, beautiful, stunning, shining, and effervescent co-host, the brilliant Rachel Quirky Shank.
And thank you to my Tragedy of Humanity co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. Ooh.
Honestly, of all of them, that one's the most accurate, I'd say. So, you know,
Yeah, I couldn't remember the third word in the first one I said about mysticism and apocalypse. So
something like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell that none of this is scripted? Sorry. We're just all off the
You
cuff.
messed your lineup.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
I'm going to say the line faster than
Line.
you next time.
And of course, thank you to everyone who is still here and hasn't turned the podcast off yet. We cherish you very much.
Yeah, me too. Especially you. You know who
Especially
you
you.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, you.
Cutie patootie.
But until next time, we'll see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
It's like the
Yes.
first time every time.
It is like Maya makes it like the first time every time. As soon as I think that I'm like, oh, I got it, I'm just gonna set it, forget it, do the thing. Then all of a sudden I sound like overblown and in a barrel. It's fine. It's fine.
You're just practicing for your future career as a member of the Donkey Kong Country and hiding in one of them barrels.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm.
I got
I'm.
nothing.
Can I be Solid Snake instead? 'Cause
You
the box
could.
sounds
Hide in
more
a box.
comfortable.
Hide in a box.
Yeah.
Just
For
pull
my
over.
pro wrestling career. I'm hide in a box.
Solid Snakeette. I don't know. I got nothing.
I'm a Solid Snake.
That's fine.
Snake is gender neutral.
It's true. A snake is gender. It's true. It's true.
Snakes. Snakes ain't got no gender. You
New
heard it here
shirt. New
first.
shirts.
New shirt. New
Snakes
screenshot
ain't
shirt.
got
There you
no gender.
Alrighty. Well, Rachel, if you're ready and want to hit
I
that
am.
intro, we'll get started.
I'm so ready. I just yelled that snakes ain't got no gender, so you know it's time to snark.
Hey,
Oh, hey, Jeff.
what's going on, guys?
Oh, you know, talking about Superman.
Oh, cool. I could talk about Superman.
I could talk some more about Superman.
We know.
I'll bet a few people would want to get in on this.
I'm down.
You know it.
That sounds like fun. I'll do it.
Cool, let's do it. We can call the show Men of Steel.
And you can find it at certainpov.com.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yay.
CertainPOV.com.